Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am on SportsCastr as well as YouTube. As you know, I do SportsCastr exclusively on, I do Knicks Weekly exclusively on SportsCastr. So, I'm jumping on here just to let you know that I'm not going to be on here for the full show. If you want to join me on the full show, then you're going to have to jump over to SportsCastr. All right? You're going to have to jump over to SportsCastr, join me on SportsCastr, because I'll be on here for a limited time. And after a certain time, this is going to end on YouTube, and I'm going to SportsCastr. All right? So the link is in the description, and I'm also taking and putting the link in the YouTube chat. All right? So that you can join me on SportsCastr as soon as I log off of here. All right, so make sure that you're following me on SportsCastr, ladies and gentlemen. All right, because that's where it's going down tonight. And we're only on for about an hour. You know, a couple of things to talk about. Not a whole lot of things, but a few things to talk about. Not a lot going on in Knick world. You know, that's just the way it is this time. Well, not this time of year, but with everything going on, not a lot going on in Knick world. But let's talk about a few things. We'll start off with James Dolan, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we know, listen, always, all the time, there's stuff going on about James Dolan. Always talking about James Dolan. All right. And, you know, in the news came out that James Dolan was tested positive for coronavirus. All right? And I get it. Anybody that's, with everything that's going on today, anybody that tests positive for coronavirus is going to make the news. So I understand that. All right? It's going to make the news, and it's going to be all over the place, and that's what we see people reporting on. People reporting on that James Dolan, is positive for the coronavirus and this and that. But you know what they glossed over? What they glossed over is that James Dolan and Madison Square Garden, and this did come out on the news. All right, it came out in the news, but they kind of glossed over it. It was like really quick. But James Dolan is going to continue to pay his MSG employees through May. And he set up an additional fund. All right. Now, that, of course, was overshadowed by the fact that he tested positive for coronavirus. What else do you expect, when it comes to the news about anything with the Knicks or anything with James Dolan? But I'm going to read this to you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, because I think this is noble. And the one thing that James Dolan does do and he does not do, what he does do is try to work as hard as he can for his employees, believe it or not. He gets a bad rap all around everywhere, but he does. He works hard for his employees, and he tries to do what he can to help people. Let's be honest. Let's give him credit where it's due. I want you to check a look at this. This is on the New York Post a few days ago, March 28th. All right, James Dolan to pay MSG employees through May, sets up an additional fund. All right, Madison Square Garden has established a relief fund to provide financial assistance to employees while also committing to paying qualified venue employees through at least May 3rd. News correspondent sent out, this was last Friday. Right? And, I definitely want to big up him for that. The MSG Relief Fund was established with a $1 million donation from the Madison Square Garden Company that was matched by a similar contribution to the Dolan family from the Dolan Family Foundation. James Dolan is the Garden CEO. So the Madison Square Garden Company, the company in which James Dolan is the CEO, And then James Dolan's own family foundation, they both donated $1 million, so there's $2 million in the fund. All right, another $300,000 has been contributed by the Madison Square Garden management team, with the expectation that the fund will grow with contributions from the Rangers and the Knicks. The fund has been set up to provide direct assistance to employees of a variety of expenses, including health care, rent/mortgage, food, and other necessities, while the arena is shuttered due to the coronavirus pandemic. MSG employees who average at least 20 hours per week over the previous 6 months will receive pay through May 3rd, with the possibility that the time frame could be expanded as the situation is monitored. All right. So, listen, and this is just a small gripe by myself. Okay. I just want people to recognize it for what it is. Give James Dolan props when it's due. Listen, we know he makes a lot of mistakes, and there's no doubt about that. There's no arguing that he makes a lot of mistakes and does some things that none of us like. No arguing about that at all. But when he does the right thing, let's give him his props. Let me get the little fuzzy ball off my hat, too. When he does the right thing, let's give him his props. You know what I'm saying? Give him his props. Because, that's big, especially in these days and times and everything that's happening with the coronavirus. There are going to be a lot of people that's out of work. Now, let's not be confused. These employees are not the players. Yeah, we're not talking about players here. We're talking about people who make, probably more than minimum wage, but people who make a regular salary. Okay. So, big shout out to him for that. Big shout out to him for that. I just want to make sure that is put out there, that he gets recognition for that, because, it was out and then it was kind of glossed over. And then the next day, it was reported that he was positive for coronavirus. And then that was all over the place. And there was no recognition for what he did do well. All right. So I just want to make sure that I recognize him for that. Big shout out to him for that. All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, remember, come on over to SportsCastr. As a matter of fact, in about 5 minutes, the stream is going down on YouTube, and you'll have to join me on SportsCastr. Okay, the link is in the description of this video. All right, and it's also here in the YouTube chat. All right, so make sure that you join me there. I got Isaiah and I got Gamo. All right, I'm going to get their thoughts on James Dolan and the fund that he set up last week for MSG staff. And then, we got some other things I want to talk about. Frank and Leon Rose, what's their relationship like? We're going to talk about that. And this whole interview with Lamar Odom, and they did talk about the Knicks in there, and we'll listen to some of that. But, Lamar Odom, while he actually was a New York Knick once, while, he's not a lifelong New York Knick, he was a New York Knick for, 5 minutes when Phil Jackson came here and brought him on. We'll take a look at that, talk about that a little bit, and that'll be the show. Tomorrow night, though, do not forget, on YouTube, tomorrow night, we're going to be breaking down some more draft prospects. Tyrese Halliburton. We'll break down Tyrese Halliburton, Cole Anthony. We're going to look at those two guys. All right, so make sure that you're there. Make sure you join me. You'll get that notification tonight. Isaiah, talk to me, my bro. What's popping with you, brother?
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah, everything's going good, man. Can't complain. We had a great chat last night, man. I was telling you earlier, man. That chat was that was one to remember.
Yeah, that was a crazy chat. That was a little bit wild. It was fun, but it was a little bit wild.
Man, I thought it was them summer nights. You with your boys and y'all just talking. It's them late summer nights.
Yeah, it got a little bit. Luckily, I turned it off just in time. It got a little bit out of hand.
Yeah,
and some uncalled for stuff. You know what I mean? But
yeah, man, it got a little crazy. But that's everybody cooped up in the house. I'm gonna just count that as testosterone.
Okay, maybe that could be. So, talk to me, man. Just real quick, man. How you feeling about this thing, man? I feel good that he did it.
I was arguing with a couple of Knicks fans, Sim, about this whole James Dolan thing, because you got people that are very ignorant I had to tell this one dude, like, bro, you're just, and you think this is a TV show? Because this one dude, right? He was like, oh, James Dolan only donated money or only did this because he just found out he got the coronavirus. I'm like, what are you talking? I was like, bro, stop posting ignorant stuff on the internet because you just go off the headlines of ESPN and the New York Daily News and all that stuff about James Dolan. Man, I'm like, yo, bro, James Dolan does a lot of things wrong. We all agree he does a lot of things wrong, but you can't tell me that man doesn't donate and doesn't help people, the employees around MSG. I've never heard an employee complain about being mistreated in MSG. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
And not to put other organizations out there, but you got these people that quote unquote like the Dallas Mavericks or Mark Cuban, but we all know what happened with Dallas and what happened with the whole thing. I never heard that from the Knicks really, so it's just crazy, man, that people really just like just having this whole thing because James Dolan runs the Knicks and it's not as good as people want it to be. Man, listen, it's just ridiculous what some of these people were saying. I even told Gamo, I was arguing with people because, man, it's just ridiculous how people are so distorted from reality. Like, people are, like, clapping and happy that James Dolan has coronavirus.
Yeah,
I'm like,
well, that's
what is
wild,
wrong with
man.
y'all?
That's
like,
crazy.
I'm like, what is really good with y'all?
Yeah.
Like, people are really
crazy.
just distorted, and it just that really bothered me because I'm like, yo, my man, it's not a joke right now. Y'all clapping like people talking about this is Spike Lee curse, and I'm like, yo, are y'all really this bored and y'all this distorted from reality that you're gonna really be happy that another human being is sick with a virus? And I'm like, come on, man, that was not cool.
Yeah. Gamo, what's your take on the situation, man? I mean, first let's big up James Dolan for setting up that fund.
Yeah, shout out to James Dolan, man.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier, man. I like what he did, man. You can say what you want about him on a sports stage, but when it comes to stuff that actually matters, let's be honest, sports don't really matter that much, right? When you're talking about a guy who actually did something for a bunch of families or people who have families and they can't provide for themselves, things like that, or they're going to struggle providing for themselves without a steady job. The guy came in and did something that's extremely admirable. You know what I mean? And you got a lot of billionaire owners out there who aren't doing the same thing, where you're seeing players, donate their time or their money to basically help supplement, whatever incomes or savings that some of these people, these workers have left. So, salute to him big time because he didn't have to do this, but that's a really stand-up decision he made. And again, like we spoke about earlier, we spoke about the Spike Lee angle. You know what I mean? Like when there's certain safety protocols, if say, God forbid he has it, but say Spike Lee was a carrier and walked through the workers entrance and got and it found out that he got a whole bunch of people infected with it. You know what I mean? Where, you're going to have a bunch of people who actually blame James Dolan and demonize him. But again, right. That protocol, seems to been the right decision. And, another aspect is that the media is not talking about this whatsoever. So when these people in the media come and try to give you these feel-good stories, a lot of time there's a narrative behind it, right? So LeBron James opened up school, blah, blah, there's a narrative behind it. Because for the simple fact that you don't point out that James Dolan and some other owners, but a guy like James Dolan who's hated in the media about it because, the Knicks and the situation, the bad mistakes or bad decisions he's made, he did something that's extremely admirable, and there's little to no mention of it outside of some reports I see on Bleacher Report that just mention it. So, salute to James Dolan. You may not be a good owner in terms of basketball decisions, but you're a stand-up dude when it comes to helping out people in a time of need where literally other billionaires, other people who are so-called woke, other owners who are so-called beloved by the media, they're not doing what you did. So salute to James Dolan.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. That's in, I mean, that's just what it is. He does a lot of that doesn't get publicized, and people, there was something that happened a couple of weeks ago and people wanted James Dolan to publicize that, he did this and did that. That's one thing I definitely give him credit for. He does a lot of things without publicizing it. You know what I'm saying? He does things and he doesn't publicize it. He just does it because that's what's the right thing to do. And that's what he wants to do, So big shout out to him for that. Now, we're going to get into this whole Frank Ntilikina and Leon Rose situation. All right, we're going to talk about it. But in order for you to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, you got to join me right now over on SportsCastr. Because on YouTube, this is going off. All right, so the link is in the description of this video. Right now, the link is in the description of this video. You can go into the video, click on the link. All right? It's also in the YouTube chat. So you can go in the YouTube chat and you can click on the link because I'm going over there right now. This is going off of YouTube as we speak. So we're going to take a 2-minute break. And I'm going to take this off of YouTube. And then we're coming back to SportsCastr. We're going to talk about Frank Ntilikina and Leon Rose and their relationship and how we think it might impact Frank Ntilikina being on the Knicks. We just broke down Frank Ntilikina last night. We just broke it down, had a big conversation, a 2-hour conversation about Frank Ntilikina, all about Frank Ntilikina. Then we're going to take a look at Lamar Odom in his Nori Drink Champs interview, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, jump on over to SportsCastr right now. The link is in the description of this video. All right? Jump over to SportsCastr right now. It's the only way you're going to see the rest of this video. And make sure that you are following me on SportsCastr. The link is in the description of this video. The link is also in the YouTube chat. And the link is going to also be in the comment section. All right? Follow me because every week I do Knicks Weekly on SportsCastr. So make sure you follow me there right now. YouTube family, I'm out. SportsCastr, we're in.